Hello there. In this video, I'll show you a short documentary film that illustrates the importance of having a fun and adventurous lifestyle for your social skills, and it shows you how you can design a lifestyle like that for yourself. But for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Achil Prabhat Rudolph. I'm a social confidence coach, and I help immigrants, predominantly those from Eastern and South Asian cultures, develop the kind of confidence that is necessary to attract the right partner for a relationship and also an international community here in the West. And as most of you can certainly appreciate, building good social skills is a very broad undertaking. It involves working on your mindset, your limiting beliefs, working on your voice, your speaking abilities, reading social cues, and learning the dynamics of dating. But there's one thing that's more important than all of these other things. And without that, all of those other things usually are just useless. And that is building an interesting personality, building an interesting lifestyle. That means making interesting stuff happen in your life and also being able to show that, being able to express that and tell stories about it. Lots of people here consume superficial advice. There's all these channels that give you another pickup line, another trick, a styling hack. And usually that doesn't really help because it doesn't address that underlying issue that people's lives are just not interesting enough and they don't have any adventure going on. And a lot of people on my channel as well, they comment, they say, I speak too much, there's too much yapping here, just do an approach, just show us how to do it, do like Sasha Day Game. If you're one of those people, please unsubscribe now. I don't want people to watch this who don't really want to get it on an underlying fundamental conceptual level. So when we get started on talking about lifestyle changes, it seems like a very big task. It seems like, whoa, I don't want to change my whole life. I'm good. There's going to be an ego reaction, right? My life is good. I just want to change this one area. We have to get over that, and we have to accept that certain changes will be necessary on that very fundamental level of lifestyle. And to give you a little test where you can find out whether that is necessary for you or not without calling up these ego and resistance reactions, you can ask yourself right now, when you go up to strangers and you talk to someone new, do you often ask yourself what to say? What should I say? If that's the case, then in all likelihood, we need you to make some lifestyle changes and you don't have an interesting enough lifestyle. Because if that was the case, if you had an interesting life, then you could tell stories about every single topic. You could just associate every single topic and every single circumstance in a social interaction with a story from your life, because interesting stories would be happening all the time. And so if you don't have that feeling that you know something to say in social interactions, then it means you either don't have enough interesting stuff going on in your life, or you don't know how to talk about it. You don't know how to express it. You don't know how to access it in the right moment. And to be fair, the second is more common. Most people do have interesting stories, but they're just not aware of them. They don't know how to tell those stories. But then there are also people of the first kind who really just don't have a lot of interesting stories going on in their life currently. I see this a lot with the South Asian clients that I work with, a lot of them from technical backgrounds, and often they had this huge adventure of coming from India to Germany, but that's about it, right? After they got into well-paying jobs, they built a solid career, the adventure seems to be kind of over. And just making money, just making more money, can't really be an interesting story. You know this. It's not that hard to get the next promotion if you're already in a good career. And that's also just not an interesting story. Imagine a Bollywood hero who just has to get a job or just has to get another promotion. That's not difficult and challenging and exciting enough. And it's also not unique enough. And especially when people are working in areas where they don't have a real passion for, when your purpose is not necessarily your work, then usually the career is not an exciting story to tell. And so when there's not other adventures in your life, people will consider you as boring. And if this is not fixed, as I said earlier, then nothing else helps. So as a bottom line here, you have to make more interesting stuff happen. And mindset that I use is I want my life to be an epic adventure. I want my life to be the best story that I can imagine, and I use every single opportunity that I get to make interesting things happen on different levels. I mean, there's the macro level where I'm starting a business, and that is in itself an interesting story for me. It keeps me busy, and it keeps me busy across decades, and the story arc takes years sometimes. But then there's also micro stories, micro adventures that you experience every day, and they link to that big story. For me, it's every single day there's a challenge or a new client that has a unique problem, and I try to fix that. And of course, what's interesting for me will not be interesting for you. That's highly individual, and that's the point. That is where you differentiate yourself, and the way that you choose to combine all the different forces and elements of life into your stories, that shows what kind of person you are. And it's important that that is unique, that this is unexpected, that this leads the listener of the story into a new area, into a new unique personality that is you. And that is also the best way to tell people who you are and what kind of person you are, because it doesn't come across as showy. You know, you can't tell people that you're smart and rich and creative. If you tell them like that, it's considered bragging, and it's going to actually call up their ego resistance, because no one wants to hear that someone else is more intelligent than them, right? So the way to transmit your values and your character is through telling those stories. And that's how people can accept and derive for themselves, conclude for themselves what kind of values you have and what kind of strengths you have. And that doesn't require a lot of resources. I want to make this very clear. Having an interesting lifestyle doesn't necessarily mean having a lot of money. On the contrary, many of the best stories that I've heard in my life are on the backdrop of material lack, of misery sometimes. Those stories also usually lead us into underworlds. They lead us into the dark places of the world that most people who are living comfortable lives don't really have to ever interact with, but are very curious about. And that's also what's going to happen in the film that I'll show you here today. It led me into one hell of an underworld, and immigrants usually have a lot of stories from those underworlds, especially because people in the West usually have no idea about life in a third world country. And for them, most of life over there is just one huge underworld. It's a mysterious place that they cannot even fathom. So the film that you're about to watch here, I made it when I was actually broke. And I had a good friend, and he had his 30th birthday celebration in Paris. But I was living in Berlin, and I didn't want to pay for a ticket. So I decided to hitchhike from Berlin to Paris. And that was the story. And that's really all a story takes. It takes a character and a slightly difficult to achieve goal. So I want to show you this film just to show you how easy it really is to create interesting stories and to turn your life into an epic adventure. And I'm not saying you have to film it. I'm not saying you have to open a YouTube channel. These stories stay with you in whatever shape or form. And if I hadn't filmed it, I would still be able to tell that story, which makes conversation interesting. If you want to get more help with designing your own adventure in life and telling better stories, then check out the link in the description where you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with me for free. For now, enjoy the film. Samgat Chadvam. Namaskar. Yo, Antoine, I just packed up all my stuff and I'm hitchhiking to your birthday party in Paris now. So here I am, and this is my street, and I'm walking in your direction. First step, I have to get a piece of paper, a big piece of paper where I can write. Alright, Antoine, I found the perfect spot here for the start. My hair, fabulous. The light has people stopping here all the time. And then Autobahn is right there, so everyone who's here basically goes on the Autobahn. Very, very happy about this. So I'm not yet ready for this step, Antoine. I still don't dare to put my sign up. It's just like hanging down there, visible, but it's very hard to stay here, stand here and talk to strangers, irritate them. But I think now I slowly slowly get it. I slowly gain the confidence. In this video, as you're watching, I'm becoming confident. And now, for the first time, I'm holding it up. See, I'm holding it up. So Antoine, I made it to Hanover, a place maybe 1/3 of the way. And now I'm here chilling on this auto stop, and it's beautiful. It's the best day to do this kind of stuff. Everything is coming together, and I feel really accomplished. And my confidence is growing. I can go up to people, talk to them, and not be weird about it. Alright, still here under the open skies of Hanover, going through a little bit of a rough patch. Fahren Sie nach Paris oder Köln? Schade. Another no. So just decided to go a little more defensive. Just chill. Sit here. Maybe have my sign out. Right like this. Slowly becoming comfortable with the camera. I was very nervous in the beginning. Now it feels natural to talk to you. So I have a few insights to share. I feel like I understood most important things. I can't express them yet, but I understood. Antoine, it's not going well, man. And that's real patience. You just sit here, say, yeah, the sun is going down, but there's nothing you can do but wait.
Je suis en Belgique. Les gens ici sont très jolis, et non tant jolis, mais très gentils.
And made great leaps here from Hanover, where I was waiting for a long time. I got one guy to take me just a small distance, and it brought me to a spot which seemed a little worse than the one where I was waiting for a long time, but I only stood there 5 minutes. I don't know whether it's my radiation or destiny, and some guy from Belgium took me along all the way from the middle of Germany to the boundary with Belgium. But I am at this point where I feel like chilling a little bit. I didn't even get to open my book really, and now I decided that I should just sit here for a while, not aggressively hitchhike, but spend the evening, you know, the way I want to spend an evening. Except I'm sitting in the corridor in front of the bathroom. The thing in the corridor didn't work out that well. Just sat there, read a few pages, and then realized I'm stupid. Those are some really important hours here, because now it's turning real dark and night, and a few people drive by night, as you can see. So I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere. Some trucks coming by. Hago una película sobre esta experiencia y quería grabar un poco la calle y nuestra experiencia y conversaciones.
Esta calle sí se puede grabar, que tiene luz, tiene todo,
sí,
bonito. ¿Va?
Es bonito. Es mejor de Alemania, un poco.
Hombre,
¿no?
toda la Europa es mejor de Alemania. Yo soy 2-3 días de semana en Alemania. Y como vida alemanos, es muy mal. Es como robotes.
Eso es.
No sabe vivir, no sabe nada. Es un país comunista. Alemania es un país comunista.
Ah, sí.
Hacer una lectura con esto, con Karl Marx. Mira, cómo cómo apuntar Karl Marx, comunismo moderno, así es ahora en Alemania. Es un comunismo perfecto.
Ah, sí?
Sí. Deutschland.
Yeah.
Dice Stauland. Todo es Stau. Cuando andas al cargar la mercancía, warten, espera, warten, Stau. Cuando al descargar, también, espera. Siempre esperar, siempre tardar. Mierda de país con mierda de hombres. De ahí del sur, una marroquí, creo. Sí. Con 6, 7 hijos. Oh, madre mía, que está mal en España, que no tenemos dinero, no tenemos nada, no comer, no la casa, no nada. Hombre, ¿por qué has hijos cuando no tiene dinero? No tiene posición social, no tiene nada. No tiene quien no quiere trabajar. ¿Quién no quiere trabajar? ¿Quién quiere estar a casa con mujeres? Esto sí, claro que no tiene dinero. ¿Quieres trabajar? Tienes dinero.
I made it! Woohoo! I should not die now, because I just arrived in Paris. I'm at a slightly suboptimal point here on the highway. The guy that was very nice to me drove me all the way to Paris and dropped me off, but right next to the highway. Now I have to walk. He gave me a reflecting jacket for me not to get run over. Alright, here we go, Paris. I'm in the train. Logically, I would be on the train to your friend's place, but we have a twist in the story here today. I realized that the little microphone that I had on my chest all the time is missing. When I got to Paris and I got off at the highway, I was so excited I must have dropped it somehow. But I want to look for that microphone now. I'm going back there for that microphone. No microphone left behind. That's exciting, right? Many a hand has scraped the handled face of the platoon. Somewhere on... I need that microphone. It's gonna lie there somewhere on the highway or next to it. And I know it. I just want to say it on the record. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it, okay. It's a good way to get to know a city. You drop something at a place, you know, something of you, something you own, sitting in the city on a fucking highway. And you have to get back. I love the mission. Great mission. Maybe I'm going a little insane with all this sleepless travel. The trains and the whole system here, it's just not a good user experience, you know? The little doorknobs. Did you see how they open? Like this. You have to make this movement with those two fingers. Another example. Did you see that M up there? It was beautiful, but you seem to care more about style than about visibility. I was on this intersection earlier, okay? And I didn't see the train station. There was this huge tram line, but how would you realize that that's the train station? There's like a pink little monument in the middle of the street, but not a sign anywhere that there's a stop of a fucking metro. Seem to have too many metro stations. You don't even care about them anymore. It's right there, and you can't see it. I cannot still not see that this is a metro station. Okay, the moment of truth is coming closer. One more corner, and then I'll see my microphone lying there on the floor, like that. It's gonna soon be sitting there, you know. That's how it works usually. That's how it works. I gotta say, I love this spot, you know. Nice view, good culture. I have my glasses on so I can finally see the full beauty of Paris. I can see the rain now. I can see the clouds. What do we have here?
right next to the toilet paper. Bling! Woo-hoo-hoo! You gotta follow your heart, man. You gotta follow your heart. Always. Always follow that heart. Okay, I'm almost there. Looks like I made it. Looks like I made it. I want to finish up with a few thoughts, maybe just one thought actually. It's a question more. And the question is, why are there so many houses? Why are there so many houses? Why are there so many houses, man? It's not a spot where there's not a house. And you know, sometimes there's not a house and then they're building a house, like here. So houses everywhere. Houses. Alright. You got the point? Another house, by the way. Lots of those around, and it's not that obvious to me why they should exist. I mean, building a house like that, I don't think I can do it. I don't think you can do it, man. You're not gonna have a house like that ever. And you're like smart, man. You're smart. That's for sure. I wanted to thank my audience, you know, for making this trip happen. The reason I do this is to impress them, of course. I want to thank my camera for being sharp most of the time, and I want to say hi to my mama, my father, my sister, all my family back in India, family in Germany. You gotta thank them all, you know, once you thank one of them.